So Chris, new year, new kicks.
New year, new audience. Glad to see you guys again.
Glad to see you, and welcome to all the new ones coming in. So Chris, what do we got for our audience today?
So, as you can tell, box is a little shiny.
A little glossy, a little reflective.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you guys know what this is. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it, guys. Hey everyone, and welcome to SneakerWeb. My name's Rico.
My name is Chris.
And today, Chris, you brought something that's so shiny, I'm afraid it's even gonna... Okay, it comes off on camera.
Yeah.
What do we got for us today?
Today we have the Bred Patent Jordan 1 Highs. These are beautiful, man.
Absolutely, and that was your grail shoe for last year, right?
It was. Aside from the, I know I said a lot of this last year about the Hyper Royals, but these I couldn't miss these.
No?
No, I couldn't miss these at all. And
tell us your story.
My story's pretty similar like everybody else's.
Okay.
I missed out on the Breds in 2016. Too young to get the previous Breds that came out, especially the ones in '94. I was not born then. I mean, I was born then, but not exactly. But it's glad to see that I was able to get a future version of these. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy the matte color of the original ones, don't get me wrong. But the patent just gives it a nice little glow that I think, like a revamp almost, that the Breds needed. So I'm kind of glad that I was able to get my hands on these, and it honestly made my year. So.
I'm glad that these shoes made your year, and I mean, again, like Chris said, this is an OG staple for a lot of SneakerWeb. Well, I'm glad you're happy with them, and not only are these the Bred, but these are also AKA the banned quote-unquote sneaker that Jordan wore back in 1984, back when the Jordan 1 first came out. And back then you had to wear your team color uniforms, and which was typically your home jersey and your away jersey. This was one of those shoes that kind of broke the whole dynamic of that.
Yeah.
It was the reverse uniform, which was primarily black, and then the red accents, and then you had the white bottom. Now, some stories say it wasn't banned, some stories say it was, but either way, we got such a controversial shoe out of it that they just had to make a colorway of it and re-release it every so often.
Yeah, and I think it's been a staple for Nike for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I'm surprised, that they didn't release more Bred colorways, but it makes sense because they don't want to overdo, the whole Bred hype, and putting them out every couple years or so, I think makes sense for their brand. But I'm so glad that I was able to be in a position where I can actually afford to get these and not have to worry about, hey, mom and dad, can I get these? And they're probably like, no, because, parents will think Jordans are too high anyway.
I mean...
But yeah, I'm still speechless as far as these shoes. Like, a lot of people will say, hey, you'll see resellers with like 5 or 6 and it's not really surprising to them. But for me, just to even cop a Bred, period.
So real quick, I just want to elaborate on the story a little bit.
Yeah.
I managed to hook up Chris with these. He paid for them, I just managed to find them. But yeah, he was telling me, I immediately texted him, I'm like, hey, I got one in hand, do you need it? And he immediately texted me back, like, drop worked and everything. He's like, yes, I need these. When can I pick them up?
But it's funny because the day before, I think it was either a day or 2 days before, we were actually talking about the shoe, and I said, if I don't get these for retail, I will pay resale for them. And at this point...
We don't do that often.
We don't do that very often, but these were like a shoe I could not pass up. And I was going to literally just bow down to the resale gods and say, here, take my money at this point. Because this shoe is actually the stock for it when it released on, sneakers. It wasn't a super great stock. Anytime a sneaker's coming out, you'll always see the stock numbers are super high, and a lot of people were saying these were going to be a large number, and there were going to be so many retailers had these. But
then we have pandemic issues.
We have pandemic issues, and we have bots. So anybody that knows, sneakers is hard to bot, but a lot of other sites are not. The stock numbers on sneakers was not very high, so a lot of people could not get these for retail, excuse me. And I think the crazy part is that they were going to have a limited restock, but the limited restock didn't happen.
Yep.
So whoever got these, great. If not, you are going to be paying resale for them. So I was just very lucky.
Yes, you were very fortunate. Now, real quick, I do just want to get to the tech specs of a Jordan 1. They're typically the same through most of them except the Zoom Jordan 1. So this has one of the greatest tractions of all time. Ask Chris from Wear Testers, it busted his hip out. And then, I'm not joking.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Anyway, getting to the midsole and the cushion in this, lack thereof. It's basically a EVA wedge with an air unit encapsulated in the heel of the shoe here, and you're not gonna feel it. There's really no cushion in the shoe. You're basically on the floor in these. And if you like court feel, this is the way to go. And then you have actually, I might be able to find a diagram of this, but basically the original construction of the shoe had each layer talking about what they were for and how they supported your foot and all that. Like these two forefoot leather pieces here were for forefoot containment, and then you had all the ankle deconstruction on how it kept your ankle in place and on the footbed. This is not one of those shoes, in my opinion, that held up over time. It's more of a casual shoe now.
I agree.
Which is why we've added the additional cushion in some of the Air Jordan 1s. Either way, classic timeless piece, transcends generations, and this proves it.
Yeah, and I even like the little touches that they did on this shoe. Even though the previous ones did have inside.
You talking about the stitching on the inside?
Stitching on the inside.
Yeah.
They do have, this time it says family on the inside. Shout out to Vin Diesel. And
No, we're not doing that.
And, you know, I did wear these once. Was expecting a lot, heavy creasing. I did do some crease damage to these just to test it out.
Testing?
Yeah,
we're both scientists here.
It sounds stupid, but I wanted to see how good the crease. I mean, obviously it's the first time creasing, but I wanted to break them in at the same time. Very little to no creasing, obviously on the first wear. The only thing I would probably
do I have
worry.
permission to?
No. No. It went through it once. It's not happening again.
As you can tell, who does the most science work here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rise above. Focus on science.
I prefer to keep them minty, but I just wanted to test it out because I saw a guy who walked in the shoes on YouTube for about what did he say? It was like 60 days or something like that. Just straight these every single day, just walking. And
when did they come out?
They came out recently, but you know they're on go months ahead.
I mean, yes, but
ahead. They just came out.
I don't know if I trust that video.
I mean,
anyway,
he did show his receipt that he did buy the shoes ahead of time and that he did test them. But yes, it did show warping on the toe, but it didn't show creasing as hard as I would have expected. Because the only thing people are usually worried about with patent, anything, is two things: scratches over time gets a little bit hard to buff those out, or you can also deal with the cracking from that.
I will say though, and not a lot of people know this, when you scratch patent or when you damage patent, you're only damaging that coat. You're not damaging the leather. Exactly. You're only damaging the outer shell. Yeah. Now, when you get through that, that's when you start damaging the shoe and all that. So this is like a protective leather for the shoe. Protective coating, I'm sorry. But yeah, not many people should be worried about damaging these too badly.
Although I did see a guy skateboarding in these, and
how did that make you feel?
That made me want to die, but that's besides the point.
Do what you want with your shoes.
If you are looking for a comfort feel with these, let's talk about the comfort. If we're talking about comfort feel with these, I'm gonna tell you right now, they do start off pretty stiff. Stiffer than most J's, I'll be honest. Mostly around here, towards the back heel. Upper back if you want to get specific, and it can be very stiff back there, so I would say wear these a couple more times, break them in a little bit,
give them some love,
give them some time, and they'll feel a little bit more comfortable. So just be aware of that. As far as sizing goes, I'm wearing a size 11 in these. I usually go in between a 10.5 and 11. If I were to buy the pine green Jordan 1s, the 2.0s, I would probably buy a 10.5, but in these I bought an 11, and it was...
Is it because of the extra layers and all that?
Yes, and it's
Okay.
extremely worth it because A, it curbs the stiffness. If I had bought a 10.5 in these, I probably would be dead, or my feet would be bleeding.
They'd be a trophy shoe.
Yeah, they would probably wouldn't even be worn. But just to give you guys a heads up, this is a size 11. If you are going to your size, maybe try half a size up if you are used to buying Jordan 1s and about half a size over. But if not, and you feel comfortable and you don't mind your feet, you know,
Suffocating for a little bit.
Suffocating and looking like Moby Dick at the end of the day, then hey, sky's the limit. Retail, standard.
What was it? It was 180. It was 170.
Yeah.
Retail, and then after tax.
So about 181.
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully we get some more awesome products like this for 2022, and hopefully you guys continue to follow us through this journey into 2022. And with that being said, guys, peace.
Later.